All right. Thank you for all the patience. We are doing something for the first time, which is we're trying to live stream our event to our YouTube channel, and we have spent some good amount of effort and money in getting all these new shiny devices. So we're still setting it up, so that's why it's a bit of a delay. But yeah, thank you for coming in on this beautiful, warm day. My name is Aman. I'm your host and organizer for today. I'm joined by a few other folks. Oh, it's too low in the back? Oh, okay. Let me try if I can increase the volume of the speaker. The speaker doesn't like that. Is it better now? Oh, thank you. Good, good. I'll just take 5 minutes to go over these slides and tell you who we are, what we do, and how many of us are here doing the event for you. We are a volunteer-run and non-profit organization. We've been here for a few years, survived COVID, and been hosting events for you all. But the thing that's remarkable for us is organizing these events takes a lot of effort, and we are more than 60 people who are all volunteers and making these events possible for you. We work with sponsors like Super and others we'll talk about, and we make these events happen for folks who are new or experienced in their JavaScript or technology or design journey so that we can share with each other and learn new stuff. As always, the code of conduct is in effect. You can look at the code of conduct on our website, whose link is on the screen, torontojs.com/p/code_of_conduct. The gist is this is an abuse-free, harassment-free event experience for everyone. We want it to be that way. If you think that you're not having the experience that you wanted to have, you can always email us, reach out to me or anybody on the ground. You'll see our faces in a bit. We do not tolerate abuse, harassment, or intellectual elitism in any form. I hope intellectual elitism is a word as is pretty self-explanatory. All right. I also want to thank our sponsors. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. The first sponsor I would like to thank is super.com. They give us this space, and they've been doing it for a while. And let me read what each of these companies do so you know what they are. Super is the all-in-one travel app, putting more money in your pocket through savings on hotels, cashback, and cash advances, and so much more. If you want to learn more about what Super does, check out super.com. The next sponsor I want to talk about is Dragonfly. It's a database, and it's a drop-in Redis replacement. It's built from scratch for modern cloud workloads, 25 times higher throughput, 12 times lower latency, and up to 80% lower costs. Fully compatible with Redis APIs and tools, so no code changes needed. If you want to learn more about Dragonfly, you should go to dragonflydb.io. And the third sponsor I want to talk about and thank is Sanity. It's a fully customizable all-code backend for content-driven websites and apps for their builders and their creators both. Check out Sanity on sanity.io. A bit about us. We have been hosting virtual and in-person events. Virtual events have been going on for quite some time. On a pause right now, but in-person events like these are going to go on. We are 13,000 members or more on Meetup, 6,000 members on Slack, and 1,700 members on Guild. We are powered by more than 50 people who are all in volunteering capacity, and we are the folks who make these events happen. We have some people organizing here. That's myself. We have Manny around. We have Brandon. You might have seen Brandon while checking in. And we have Robert somewhere doing something important, of course. What I forgot to put the image and name of was Ahmad. And Ahmad, if you can stand up and show everybody your face. Ahmad is the person who started live streaming and is the man behind everything tech that is required to record and stream these events for future users. Today's agenda, we already have gone past through, the doors open, and welcome. The first talk is by Kiarash. Kiarash is around here. Right after this, we'll just set the computer up for him, and then after that, we have talk by Aleksei, and then the last talk is by Dave, At 8 p.m., hopefully, we'll start networking, and at 9 p.m., we have to be out from here. So just be careful about that. Once we are done, if you can help us fold the chairs and put them back, that would be great. We all can then go out earlier. If you want to join us as a volunteer, you can scan this QR code or join us on Slack on TorontoJS.com. There's a little bit of a process to sign up as a volunteer, but I promise it goes on quickly, and you can be one of us doing these things. It's fun, it's painful, but in the end of the day, it's very enjoyable, and when I see people like you and we meet new people. Before I give it out to Kiarash, I wanted to ask a quick question to understand a bit about you. I wanted to know by a raise of hands, how many of you are coming here for the first time? Is this your first TorontoJS event? All right, quite a few. And how many of you have been here 2 or more times? Okay, great, great. Thank you so much. Um, Another question I wanted to ask to understand the demographics in terms of how much, let's say, who's a student, who's a professional, etc. So if you are a student or you haven't started working professionally, please raise your hands. Okay. If you have been working in the industry as a professional software developer for more than 2 years, please raise your hands. All right. If you have been in the industry for more than 5 years, please raise your hands. All right, great. Great to have you. Thank you so very much. That will be all from my side. We'll now get Kiara set up, and then you'll hear from him. Thank you.
Right. Do you have any like anything to serve the So welcome to my talk about. Uh, thank you, thank you. SVG didn't listen until I spoke JavaScript, where I actually go through my journey from about my curiosity about SVG and how it ended up to some discoveries that we go through together today. Exists, and because I'm going to explain it most part. And JavaScript, welcome to Toronto JavaScript. You have to know JavaScript a little bit at least. And I'm going to show some React and SSR snippets probably, but I'm not going to explain it. So if you have like some previous background, it would help you understand it. So my name is Kiarash Bahrami, but you can call me Kia because that's a long name. Shout out to the car brand. Uh, I'm developer, freelancer, full-time Linux and Vim user. Linux user will tell you if they are. And speaking of full-time, I'm actually looking for a full-time job. So if you're hiring, I'm all good. And yeah, so either you're a developer or a Linux user who becomes a sysadmin, or a Vim user, or a person that takes on a daily basis. The plain text is where you are comfortable with. You would like to edit the plain text. I mean, like as a sysadmin, you edit configurations. As a developer, you edit code snippets or Vim user. And yeah, when it comes to text files, that's where you are comfortable. And when it comes to me, I'm all three of them. So I always thought, can I make images in plain text? Can I make images in my editor? And for that, we need plain text images. So is there anything like that, which actually I spoiled it in the title, the SVGs. So let's, before hopping into that, like how SVG is a plain text, quote unquote, let's take a look at this cat picture. And so let's say if this cat picture wasn't an SVG, it was just a JPG, and we tried to, for some reason, open it in a text editor. The text editor would do its best to show some text, but it's actually a binary file, and it tries to kind of some of that binary file into some UTF-8 characters. Depends on your text editor, really, to be honest. Some text editors would just refuse it, but that's how it would look like. The only string there, if you look closely, I don't know if you even can, but it's just Adobe, which is the metadata. But if you open it on the SVG, if it was a SVG and you open it on a editor, I'm not sure if the code snippets are visible enough, but you can see some English words there, like encoding XML. If you're a developer, XML would like sound amazing to you, and you can see some XML syntax as well. And so it's better right now. It's like human readable a little bit. I mean, compared to JPG. Not only SVG comes up with the benefit of being readable in your text editor, it's perfectly scalable. It's just a markup language about how this image, this vector is going to be rendered. So whatever size that we try to original sizes, and we try to change it in the future, nothing is going to change. Which, unlike other image formats, that's not really the case. So moving on, and another thing about the SVG, I can just go there and make the whiskers, eyebrows like this. If I wanted to do this in something like JPG, PNG, etc., I would have, I don't know, pick a eraser tool or whatever it is. I'm not a designer, I'm a developer. That's why I would like to actually do the edits and the image manipulation in my text editor. And that's what was the whole kind of put start to this presentation today here. So, but to be honest, I actually liked about its human readable. It's really not, I mean, like if you take a SVG from a actual designer, a person who actually like illustrated in a designer software, that software usually uses path elements, which is a SVG elements, which is just like a array of coordinations, I would say. So that's not, if you look closely, if it's visible for people on the back, it's just numbers. So that's not really, you can't really just like sit down and type coordinates. But it doesn't stop us to use the other elements. SVGs comes with shapes. And so let's just take a look. How would a rectangle code snippet look like? So you would just give it a position of x and y, the width and height, and you can't even give it more properties. It's literally just like, it's an XML. So it's an XML syntax. If you're a web developer, you're already familiar with. You can get into the documentation, but you now can imagine that now we have rectangles. We can kind of do pixel art maybe in text editor. I'm not sure. We can go further into the presentation. There are other shapes as well. There are circle, ellipse, line, and we even have text other than the shapes. So the other shapes, there are like more shapes, but the ones that I didn't mention, they were like the same scenario with the path. You had to type coordinates. So you can use text. So SVG is just XML. You can use SVG in DOM, HTML. So, and you can manipulate DOM HTML with JavaScript. So you can say, where am I going? So can you manipulate SVG with JavaScript now? And let's go into my experiment. So what I did, I tried to kind of tweak with the SVG text before getting to the, oh, I want this like pixelated like editor idea. So that's what I did. I just made a simple text, and I made it, so you don't have to do that actually. This is the worst case scenario, but I took it from my literally the first ever experience. So I did a very hacky way of like calculating the frame per second and kind of implementing it in the JSX syntax, and this is how it looks like. It's so easy, actually easier than that. You can just set the stroke dash with the state use, but I didn't want to really kind of get into like the perfect way of doing it. I just wanted to show my experiments before getting more experience with it. And you can do it as well with SVG. You don't even have to write JavaScript. So that was my very first experiment, and I wanted to do rectangles. I really wanted to get into shapes and pixels. So what you can do, you can, so imagine that you want to kind of draw this art in your editor. So what if we had something that it would just calculate the next pixel? For example, I don't want to write the rectangles and copy paste it and change the coordinates, then copy paste it, change the coordinates. I know that I can do it with the programming language, and my programming language was JavaScript, and that's how I did, for example, a rectangle here, which the component takes a number, which is the size of the kind of a square in this case, but the rectangle is the element's name. So that's how it would look like if you give it the n of the 2, 4, and 16. That's how it would look like. And so, but the code snippet that it showed you, it wasn't really a valid SVG. I mean, like you can just like export it and give it to a designer. So that's where SSG comes. React DOM has a static markup renderer, and yeah, that's not a valid SVG. Thanks for mentioning it. And yeah, and that's what I did. I implemented a kind of a logic that renders to a static markup, and I did some front end for like the buttons and the modals, so I could do whatever I wanted to and just click on that button and get a valid SVG in a pop-up with the help of the React DOM SSG tool. And another problem that I had with the text, that was a actual pain point of mine writing this kind of presentation. The SVG didn't listen. It implies about how it doesn't listen to responsiveness. You can't really, it's so hard to make it responsive. So that trust the process text is not really responsive. So how would you do it? So SVG comes with a kind of a view box, and you can just connect the view box to the side of the browser. We can make it to be ever of the browser. That's so, I mean, it was so amazing that I made a talk about it and I'm here with you guys. And yeah, and I just made a like kind of indicator about like the text is there that actually how the responsive SVG text is handling the different screen sizes. Right now, you can see like when I go to the dev tools and I simulate the phone screen size, it just works and it's responsive. And it's so great that JavaScript, SVG listens to the JavaScript. And moving on, I actually try to make it interactive, one step closer to my kind of making an editor even in React and JavaScript just by SVG. So the button is there, the canvas is there. I would just go there, change the pixel colors, get a static render, and I have a kind of a basic pixel art kind of editor. And I try to make a game, so this is not the actual gameplay. I actually try to make a game. The moment that I shared this with my friends, they were like, oh, you have to make a game that we can compete with each other at the real time. So, for example, every single one of us have their own canvas. We are going to draw our own stuff, and we are going to submit it, and we can vote about it. And this was a great idea at first, but the more and more we got into it, I had inconsistency with the browsers, different browsers, because so it wasn't really an in-person thing. It was an internet thing. I just showed it to the internet feedback to me, and people on the internet, they have different browsers and slow join times. So why is that? Why do we have slow join times? Because so every time a person joins, there is a new canvas, and that whole canvas gets queried to the database, and that part is fine. It's a database thing, but the browser now has to handle every single canvas and rendering the SVG on their device, which is fine for our devices, but there are like some people out there that are like running like, I don't know, Intel Core Duo or something like that. But yeah, so you can see how SSG actually comes in handy. Like we know that their browser is not powerful enough, but what is powerful enough? Our servers. So we can just query once and render, just deliver the rendered SVGs, and they can join their browser can actually handle the WebSocket connections and struggle with that before rendering the SVG and having inconsistency. So that's how SSR actually came in really handy. And we kind of went through rectangles and shapes and text, but there is another element that really, actually when I was wrapping this presentation up, I discovered about it. You can just put a script tag inside the SVG and a style tag too. So your whole SVG can be just delivered without any HTML. Even before it becomes a DOM element by itself, it can be its own thing. So that's what I did. I just put a script tag to demonstrate how it would look like if I didn't run it on the browser, and how would it look like if I run it on the browser. Like one is image viewer and one is the browser. So you can see how really the possibilities are now widened, and this kind of functionality is usually used just for the animations. So for example, let's say this how would this SVG look like if you open it in the image viewer, same thing. This is how it would look like if we open it in a browser. I'm not a designer. I know there's a person out there who did a better job in animation than me, but what I did actually, so when I saw the script tag, I know that I have to try the fetch API. So that's what I did. I made a whole mini game of kind of this scribbled. So let me explain what it does. So it actually fetches an API, which it fetches a sentence, which is a code, daily codes, and it just scrambles by itself until after 5 seconds you can click on the screen and make it pause. And so the minigame is about you make a sense of it, you make the sense of the sentence. So you literally can make your SVG a whole minigame by itself just because of that script tag functionality. So that was literally my last discovery before I wrapped the presentation up. So let's have a recap before wrapping everything up. So it all went from what if I could draw in plain text to what if the SVG could listen to the browser state. And yeah, SVG didn't listen until I spoke JavaScript. And the takeaway would be the SVG is interactive, can be browser, and can even fetch its data. What you draw can think with JavaScript, and that's it. Thank you for listening, and if there is any questions, I'm thank you.
Okay. Thanks for the interesting presentation. And just a simple question. Could you let me know where I can see the real example codes of your presentation? Because I just missed some parts of the codes and I want to see that again.
Right. I mean, the snippets are just like image files. I can, if you really want to, I can share the actual snippets in the Slack of the TorontoJS, but yeah, that would be a better option. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions? All right.
So now I found out script tags can be in SVGs. Does that mean that they are security concern if your site accepts SVG uploads? So I think that's interesting. Do you know more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you shouldn't. So the common sense about like files from the internet is not open it in the browser, really. And so you shouldn't open the SVG file in the browser, same because of the script tag. So that would be a thanks for mentioning it. Now I kind of made the security awareness for all of you guys to thank me later. But yeah, that would be the case for the PDFs as well. If you can put JavaScript in PDFs, so you should really think twice before opening anything in your browser. But thanks for mentioning it.
All that when that ran on my browser. The whole talk is SVG and it ran in my browser.
I made for the context, I made a whole kind of web app that just like goes through the folder of your personal computer and serves all of these slides are SVGs, by the way. So yeah, other than the video ones, so it goes through the SVGs, it automatically scales. So that's the context. We ran it on the Aman's computer.
Any more questions?
All
right. He'll be here in the networking session. Feel free to catch him and ask any questions to him. Thank you. Have got and give us a minute.
Yeah, are we ready? Yeah. I can start? Okay. Okay, hi everybody. Today I will share my experience with the first steps in accessibility and accessibility certification for a website. This is my first in-person presentation and first presentation in English. So, my name is Aleksei Veselovskii. I have more than 10 years of front-end experience, but I had no experience with accessibility until this story. I work at Truth. It is a United States-based startup. We create a product to make employment and income verification cheaper and easier. Our clients are businesses that want to check if their customers follow certain criteria. A regular scenario looks like this. The customer goes to the client site, presses the verify button, and sees our iframe. Some of our clients requires accessibility certification, and it means that we also should have it. So Act 1, time for understanding requirements and making preparation. I had a draft plan, understand what Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG certification is, what do we have now, what can help us, and try to fix obvious problems. We had required version number of WCAG 2.0 AA. The first step was to understand what it meant. We have different compliance levels from A to AAA. That means how strict are requirements. Higher levels includes rules from lower levels and adds some new ones. Minor versions follow the same logic. Newer versions include all rules from older ones and adds their own rules. So for WCAG version 2.2 AA, we have 55 rules. Each rule has its own number and consists of 3 parts. The first one is a big section called principal from 1 to 4, preservable, operable, readable, and compatible. The second one is guideline section number. Every section also has its own name. The third part is number of rule in the guideline. Also, we have title and level. So level A rules should be used for A, AA, and AAA levels compatibility. Back to plan, what did we have initially? We didn't have any codes related to accessibility except a couple of components that we use from material design library. We also didn't have any experience or even theoretical knowledge of accessibility, and I just knew that screen readers exist and we should use alt attributes for images. Also, we had a single page application with about 20 small screens with some animations, pop-ups, and the whole widget runs in iframe. Next step was trying to use accessibility tools like screen readers and others provided by operating system. I went to accessibility screen on macOS and saw a lot of options. Let's take a look of some of these tools. Let's start with VoiceOver. The easiest way to start it is by Spotlight. We can write VoiceOver, go to settings. Can I? I can't. Okay, I need to. Oh, come on. Come on.
Try the escape key. It's not accessible.
Oh, yeah, done. Okay. Oh, yeah, we have VoiceOver. Yeah, so we go to settings and turn on VoiceOver, and now you will hear. No, you don't hear. Maybe because I muted it. I need 4 fingers on my right hand. Sorry. So, do we have sound from my computer? Maybe this one? No? I'm sorry, I have a question. Can we hear anything from this projector?
Maybe not.
I'm not sure that's, is it my fault or not? Okay, I will try to reproduce. So you can see this this panel, and it shows what we should hear. Okay, we don't hear it, so let's try to go to WCAG site. Okay, what is the first? Yeah, I think this one. I'm not sure. Okay, it will be good for a start. So you can hear that it's pronounced. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we have a cursor that shows the current element. It looks like cursor that we see when we press tab button, but it should focus on not only on active elements, it also should focus on regular text to pronounce this text. So if you press default shortcut is Control Option left or right for going to next and previous element. So press Control Option right and go to next element. And you can see this page is go next English. Oh no, it shows that it is list, and then if you go to next element, we will go through every item in this list. So what do we see here? We see row of elements. Maybe we see we can hear. Yeah. So we should hear row of the element. We should hear some additional properties and text label of this element. So it's text that you can see. What else do we have? We can press Control Option U. We can't. No, we can. Ah, got it. I need to move it to second screen. So if I press Command Option U, I see this menu, and you can hear it. Okay. If we press, so it is a list of links. If we press right or left, you can see we have list of headers, level of header, and label of this header. So we can easily navigate by this. So if we press enter, we will go to this element. So let's press again. We have also form controls, so it's usually some inputs or buttons. Landmarks, it's some sections of elements. Windows spots, actually I don't know what is that, but okay. So that's it for screen reader. It's sad that we can't hear it now, but usually it's very annoying. Okay, so let's go to the next. Yeah, we need to stop it. Yeah, it should be off. And next accessibility tool is voice control. Yeah, it will be tricky. So let's do the same. Go to settings. And yeah, we have voice control here. Why do we have? Yes. It should. Okay. We need to find voice control. Yes. And where is my? Yeah. Okay. So we can turn it on, and we can navigate by speaking. So let's go to the browser. Hide numbers. Oh, it works. Okay. So we can say to click any links here, or so let's try. Click design and develop. Yeah, it works. Okay, also sometimes it's tricky to understand the name of button. So here we see plus icon, and what should we say? What can we do? We can say show names. Show names. Yeah. And see all labels. And we can say click new tab. Yeah, it works. Also, sometimes it's easier to say show numbers and see numbers and say click 36. Okay, click 37. Yeah, so we have another new tab. And if we want to click to some pixel on the screen, we can say show grid. 43, 14, click 13. Yeah, it works. And as you can see, when we speak, we type some text. Actually, I don't know how to stop it. Yes. Maybe I can say something like, stop listening. Yeah, it works. Yeah, so it's all that I wanted to show for this tool. And I don't know how to close it. Ah, yeah, I know. Where is my mouse? Yeah, it's here. And next tool, I don't know, do I need to show you presentation? Next tool is switch control. We can control our computer with only one button. So by default, it is space button. Switch control. Yeah. Also in settings, we can turn it on. And yeah, I need to move it to the right screen. Yeah. Okay, we will try to navigate by pressing only one button. Whew. Let's start with pointer. I don't know, I will say click when I will click button. Okay, click, 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 click. Oh no. Yeah. Okay, let's do just move without clicking. I'm waiting, and now you will see what I'm waiting for. Yes, I wait for this thing. It will. Okay, let's move mouse here and oh, sorry, something wrong. Okay, and now we will do it again. Okay, let's go to move and click. Yes. Yeah. We'll wait a little bit. Now it moves on my screen, so it is a reason why it's so long. Okay, I touched touchpad accidentally. So, okay, we will go here and press, and now we can press and press. Yes, it works. And also we can type text. Yeah, let's do it here. When we press space, okay, go back. We need to go back to previous panel. And oh no. Okay, we need to choose keyboard here and here. Yes. And we can type text like this. So we can type text. Press, 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 press. So it's very long process. Yeah, that's it. Okay, it's enough. So this is the end of demonstration. I need to turn, it's already turned off. And I will go back to presentation. Do we have it? Come on, yeah. Okay. You can find similar tools on other operation systems. Sometimes it can be external programs not built in your operation system. Also, there are a lot of categories of users who can use your application. Users who navigate only by keyboard, users who need higher contrast, colorblind, and people who require a bigger text. It's not only people with disabilities, it can be user who just prefer to use keyboard in most of the cases, or it can be a person who wants to work on computer on sunny day outside and turn on higher contrast. Back to plan, let's review browser developer tools. The first tool is automatic check. On different browsers, you can find different checks. Also, there are a lot of extensions for that. Usually, they check basic rules, like wherever images have alt attributes, or wherever alt attributes, area attributes are set up correctly. And the next one is an accessibility tree. Can be useful to understand how your website looks for accessibility tools. Every element has role, label, and some additional attributes. You can see it on the picture, I hope. So the last one is emulating deficiencies. So you can see how your interface looks without colors, blurry, or with less contrast. The next step was finding and fixing obvious problems. The most obvious problem is the lack of alternative text for images. But not every image requires alternative text. You can scan these QR codes and answer 5 questions about this alt text. So if we need alt text for image or not. So in this screenshot, you can see our first screen of our widget with popular employers and payroll providers in the United States. So let's scan these QR codes and try to guess, or if you know, try to answer these questions. Okay. And I don't know, 10 seconds. Yeah, and let's go to theory part. The main idea here is to hide the image and ask, can we understand the interface without it or not? The first image is, on this example, the first image is required because we don't have another way to understand this button's purpose. The second image duplicates their label that is written right next to it. And the third image is just a visual separator of different parts, and it also doesn't add any new information. So we also don't need to add alternative text here. And now we can try this exercise again. This is a new QR code, and you can answer this question again with knowing how it should work. Yeah, so another minute, I will take a timer. I don't know, timer. Okay, 4 minutes, or maybe less. Yeah, 10 more seconds. Okay, that's it. Okay, so let's go to the answer. In the first case, our logo doesn't add any specific information. Also, usually, so it is our company name. So also, usually we have company name in the title of iframe. So it is kind of duplication. But in other circumstances, we could need it, but we didn't add an alternative attribute here. The second image definitely requires alternative text because it's impossible to understand its purpose without any additional text. Third icon has text search right next to it, so, what can I do? Okay, right next to it. So we don't need to duplicate this information. And the fourth icon also is decorative and doesn't add any additional information. We have a company name right next to it. And the fifth one was made to visually show that this item is clickable. So for screen readers, it will be pronounced. For screen readers, it was achieved by button component, so it will be pronounced at button. So we don't need to add this alternative text here. Okay, sorry. And we have, what do we have here? We can check results, or we can't. We should. No. Yeah, we have it. Amazing. And let's go. It is the first. Wow, so much. And the second one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. We can do it, and we can. Yes, that's it. I'm not sure if it's first or second attempt. Okay, this is. Oh, come on. Yeah. Okay, and I'm not sure that it will work this way. No. Okay. Let's do it. Okay, first one. As I remember, we don't need it. But most of people said that we need it. Okay. I'm not good at explaining things. I will know it. Okay, second one. We need it. Yes, we need it. Search. We don't need it. Amazing. Oh. Hey. Sounds good. It looks good. Okay, what do we have? Item logo. Yes, no, it's good result. And next one, we need it. Okay, yeah, I think it's good result. Maybe I give you some useful information. I hope so. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, after the first look on accessibility, I needed to find more information about it. Ideally, it should be something that explains me main ideas, should be brief, and give direction in controversial situations. The first candidate was WCAG documentation. It is a good source of information if you want to make an accessible interface and pass the certification for your product. It has a lot of additional information, not only text of rule, about each rule, how to do and how not to do. I use this site a lot, but not for my first steps. The next one is MDN. It is Mozilla Developer Network. It has great articles about specific tags and area attributes. I also used this site a lot, but yeah, it also has some guidelines, but it wasn't something that was comfortable for me to use for beginning. Also, it can be useful to go to internet. There are a lot of different topics about accessibility. It can have deeper explanations of some topic, nuances of implementation, and comparison of different approaches. So when I was trying to understand how to process loading stage between screens in our single-page application, I thought about area live regions. And I was searching articles that explain me if I need it and how to properly use it. I found the article from Sarah about it, and I liked the way how she explained it. She has a course about accessibility, so I decided to buy it. I didn't buy it, it's by my company. So it contains about 16 hours of video. She explained the basics of accessibility and provided a lot of useful information. For me, it was an excellent starting point, and I gained confidence in that topic. So, of course, I can't say that I fully understand accessibility yet, but now it's much easier for me to make an informed decisions about it. So, after watching a course and fixing a bunch of things, we decided to start certification process. We didn't expect to pass it from the first attempt, so we didn't. In our case, the actual testing duration was very short, just a couple of days. More time was spent on preparation, choosing the certification partner, and for each of them, getting information about their process, system that they use, determination of scope, getting price, and for the one that we chose, it's signing contract, scheduling time slots for certification, and after the first certification, we had meeting with results explanation. Then we fixed about 50 errors, but just 15 of them was unique. They provided information about error and typical solutions that not always fits to our situation. We also asked additional questions about these errors and scheduled next certification dates. So we passed this certification from the second attempt. Considering my anxiety about it, it was a surprise for me. So if we are talking about user experience in general, we have several levels. The lower level is possible to use. Next is easy to use, and something that's impossible to achieve, it is perfect experience. We can apply it to different aspects of user interface. So I think a lot of front-end developers are familiar with browser compatibility. We can choose different strategies for users who use old browsers. The easiest way is not to support it, but you are losing a lot of users. So next level is fixing the most obvious problems in old browser experience. You can change target for your JS and CSS builder, add shims, CSS tricks in some blocks to make it possible to use your site on old browsers, even with simpler design. Higher level is trying to provide the same design and same user experience for majority of browsers, but perfect experience is not achievable for all existing browsers if we are talking about modern website. If we think about WCAG compatibility on this scale, I would place it somewhere between possible to use and easy to use. At least that's how I perceive it after the work I've done. Okay, couple words about problems. During the preparation for accessibility certification, I used the most popular browser and screen reader pairs. On macOS, it's recommended to use Safari and VoiceOver. I experienced a lot of problems that didn't exist, for instance, in Chrome and VoiceOver pair. I experienced problems with content that wasn't updated in the screen reader. Live regions behave differently compared to other browser screen reader pairs, so we decided to not use it. Also, of course, there was non-obvious loss of roles on list without bullets. So if we create list, then we remove visual bullets, we will screen reader will not say that this is a list, and we need to add it obviously. Role is something. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for attention. If you have any questions, you can find me in TorontoJS Slack and LinkedIn, or you can ask me now. And you can call me Aleksei or just Alex. Yeah, this is just a link for LinkedIn. So that's it. Thank you.
Any questions? Over there, okay.
So as far as I know, like you need to use ref for accessibility, a screen reader in React. So do you use ref, and how much it's effect for performance?
Sorry, what?
Ref.
Ref?
Yeah, reference in React. for screen reader, like how do you find them? How do you find them in the DOM?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
The reference in React. So in screen reader, you need to find the elements in the ROM, so it will read. So the libraries you use, either if you use library or if you do yourself, area, you always use ref for accessibility, as far as I know.
No. You just put area attributes.
Yeah, area attributes, yeah?
Yeah, area.
Okay.
Something like.
So you didn't use ref?
No.
Okay.
It is, so screen reader works with static HTML. So it sees, it doesn't know that we use React. It just look at HTML and make its own representation of this HTML with all elements that exist.
So this is not related to React. This is like after it's compiled to HTML.
Yes.
Okay.
So it doesn't know that we use React.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
One more.
Hi, thank you, Aleksei. That was fun. When you did your certification and you reviewed the violations, which violation came up the most often?
Oh, it's interesting. We had some popular violations. The first one, number one, was we had some problems with SVG. We didn't hide it, so I didn't know how to properly put else attributes for SVG. So yeah, it was number one if we're talking about amount of errors. But if we're talking about complexity, I think the most interesting and complex task was, so we have a rule in 2.2 version, not 2.0, 2.1. In 2.2, we have a rule about screen size. So we need to show our interface correctly for screens 320 by 240. For this small screen, we should show it, and it should be usable. And without two scroll bars, without horizontal scroll bars, if we don't have it initially. So it was pretty tricky to look at all screen, on each screen, and change it completely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome.
All right, so you make me run.
Great presentation. I was curious, you talked about many tools to troubleshoot accessibility issues. What would you think, if you have to pick a couple of tools that you want developers to focus on, what do you think would be the tools that you would pick?
Sorry.
The tools that you mentioned, right? Like you mentioned
browser tools.
So what would be like the top tools that you would still like have developers to constantly use? And then the number two questions, did you consider like monitoring tools, and if there's any?
Sorry, so the first question was about browser tools or accessibility tools?
Accessibility tools in general.
So what tool did I use during preparation?
What do you recommend?
What
do you recommend?
What tools do you recommend? You talked about many tools, right?
Yeah, initially I was talking about
tools, the Lighthouse tool,
yes.
DevTools. Which one would you,
recommend?
For like an average developer, like which tool would you recommend them to always like to get training on and use?
Actually, I can't recommend any of these tools.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried to use it initially, but the biggest progress that I had was when I started to understand how it works and what requirements do I have. So why these rules even exist. And yeah, so maybe sometimes I was looking to accessibility tree. Maybe I used it time by time. But most of the time, I just tried VoiceOver or some tools like this and try to understand how interface looks for these tools. Okay. Do you have second question? Sorry. Can you
for monitoring?
For monitoring?
I mean, to constantly monitor. We'll make changes, right? Do you always go to those tools?
We don't do it.
That's a good question.
We got certification and we are happy.
It could be no. I mean, I think the comment is no. So.
Yeah, so
Okay,
maybe
so
it's not right, but.
I don't know if this is the last question or not, but my question is going to, actually, first of all, I just want to say, I don't know if people knew, but today is Global Accessibility Awareness Day, so congratulations for nailing it. Two, I mean,
Sorry.
so today is Global Accessibility Awareness Day. So a lot of people are talking about accessibility online, especially. So hashtag GAAD. I'm not lying. But my question is the following. So a lot of accessibility teams and engineers and, et cetera, will also always ultimately recommend bringing in a sort of like a voiceover user, people with accessibility needs who are very proficient in using the internet. Have you considered bringing people in to watch them use your app to see what they're going through and what kind of struggles that they may be having navigating your application?
Sorry. So the question, did we try to?
I don't know the questions either.
What was that?
So.
Okay, cool. So have you brought people in to use your app to see how they navigate the page?
No. Yeah, short question. Yes,
Yeah.
Short answer is no. Maybe we cared more about this certification. So it was our first priority because of clients needed to get this accessibility. So it was first priority in this case. Yeah.
Cool. Kind of, because a lot of times they'll bring some people in to kind of really understand, how they sort of navigate. And there are things that you'll probably miss, right, that they'll pick up right away. So that's what I meant.
Yeah, I saw maybe some videos about other interfaces, but we didn't test it on our interface. Come on.
So I have two questions. First question is it possible to catch accessibility bug during linting or testing phase instead of manually verifying using different tools at the end, like unit testing, E2E testing, or the example you showed, alternative text? Is it possible to write a linting rule for that? And the second question is, how do you catch the mobile web application accessibility error using different tools?
So, I need to.
You can go here and answer.
Okay, yeah. So the first question is about how to not lose accessibility. So about testing, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So we didn't use automatic testing, but as I remember, something like Browser Stack provides these features, accessibility testing. But I didn't look at this because we didn't have this problem. So we wanted to make it accessible, and maybe we didn't care too much for continuously making it accessible. So what is your second question? Or maybe I didn't answer.
Mobile web.
Mobile.
Accessibility.
what exact? About tools on?
Yeah, what tools would you use for mobile web?
On mobile, also you can find VoiceOver. You can use it just on computer, but instead of shortcuts on keyboard, you can use gestures, special gestures. What else do we have there? Also they have special modes when you touch screen and hear what is under your finger. So if you go through some elements, you can hear that close button here, search bar is here. So yeah. And as I remember, other options also available, but I didn't test it for mobile a lot. It was enough to test on desktop. Okay. Oh, thank you. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Oh.
He'll be here in the network.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Oh.
Oh, some, okay.
Yeah, this is the best place.
Okay, all right. How many of you here have not yet heard about Model Context Protocol? Oh, really? I mean, you guys have heard about it, right? You don't know it, but you have heard about it, right? Oh, okay, all right. So now, I mean, today you'll know about it, I guess. All right. Oh, okay. So my name is Dev, and I'm a full stack engineer, and I call myself AI evangelist because I write blogs about Gen AI technologies, and I create videos like tutorial videos on YouTube related to same technologies. So Gen AI enthusiast, and on most of the platforms I go by this username. So just a brief introduction about me. Let's start the main thing. First, I just want to set up a bit of context. So I hope everyone knows about RAG at least, right? Is there anyone who doesn't know about it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go through it. So RAG is retrieval augmented generation, in which it is basically to help LLM get context about the user's query. So what we do in RAG is that we have the data and we store the data in vector database. So we split the data in chunks, and then we do embeddings and stuff, and we store it in vector database. And then when user sends a prompt, we get the relevant chunk of data from vector database based on the prompt and give it to LLM, and it helps LLM generate the good response, the perfect context-aware response for the user. And for all of you guys who do not know about it, you can scan this QR code. I have a whole blog series written on RAG. It will help you know what it is. All right. First of all, I'll start with discussing a scenario to explain Model Context Protocol, how it helps a developer. So let's say we have to build an application in which the user would enter the name of the company, and the application would be AI-powered application, and it would return the description about the company, the latest news about the company, and then it would fetch the stock price about the company and give analysis on whatever is happening with the stock and news, right? So the thing is, LLM would be able to generate the summary and the analysis about the company, but it needs to have access to the real-time data. I mean, the real-time price of the stock and the latest news on the internet. So we can get the information of the company by scraping the website of the company, and we can get the latest news and stock price by using some third-party APIs. So this is the solution. So, but to build the application, we would not be able to use a traditional workflow that we use in RAG, like getting the data first, storing it in a vector database. Why? The thing is, the data that we, for our specific scenario, the data is dynamic and keeps changing or updating the stock price, the latest news about the company. So as a solution, what we can do is that we can make this kind of a workflow. So we'll have a couple of functions. So one function would be responsible to scrape the data about the company from the website. The other function will call the API to get the latest stock price of the company. And the third function would, again, call some third-party API to get the latest news about the company. So we can have this kind of workflow and pass it to LLM, and this helps LLM generate the summary for us. However, the issue is, since we are using this third-party APIs to power our application, so every time the company decides to update their API, we need to maintain the application, right? All right, sorry. We need to maintain the application. So that is a lot of work for developer. And then, again, if we think about it, I just discussed this one use case when we want to develop an application that gives the analysis of the stock price and the latest news about the company. But, there would be many more such use cases where we need to provide real-time data to the model, right? For example, if you are developing an application that gives you the analysis of the latest score of any sports. There are a variety of use cases where we would need to develop such an application, and then for each application we need to write a lot of functions to fetch the data and stuff, and then again we'll have to maintain that. So this increases the amount of work for developers. But here is where MCP comes into the picture. All right, so this was the flow that we decided before, and now when we use MCP, it becomes this. So this MCP, there would be an MCP server, and it would encapsulate all these functions inside it. And the thing is, you'd be like, still will have to develop these functions, right? But then the companies would, have their own MCP server. So, the companies would have their own MCP server. For example, GitHub have their own MCP server, and it would right away give you all the functions that you need to, do all the GitHub-related operations. So the thing is, you do not have to write all the functions to fetch the data and stuff. Now the company provides you, and it's it's easy for you, and it's easy for company because as they update their APIs, they can just update their MCP server, and you can just use that MCP server and connect it with your LLM, and it helps you generate the summary. Any questions? Okay. So it is same as this. So initially we used to have this kind of all the wires connected to the laptop. So consider this as our application, and then these are the data sources that we use to power our application. But now we'll have this. So, this is what this is what MCP claims about itself, that it is the USB-C of the AI. So now this would be provided by the company, and it would have all the required tools. So what we need to do now is that just plug in their MCP server with our AI-powered application. All right, so this was just a little context for the MCP. Now let's discuss the actual MCP. So the MCP consists of 3 components. It has MCP host, MCP client, and MCP server. The MCP hosts are all the AI agents that we use in our day-to-day life, like ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, or any other AI agent that you use. And then the agent would have, the host would have a client. What client does is that it maintains one-to-one connection with the MCP server. So the client would get all the requests and it would send it to the server. And then what server would have is the list of all the tools. When I say tools, they are basically functions that help us fetch the data. So now MCP server has the tools, and MCP client can call any tool based on the prompt of the user, and it can use the server to fetch the relevant data based on the prompt. This is like kind of an architecture of MCP. So this is not official, but this is what I used to understand it. I made it. So you'll have this chatbot ID and stuff, and it would have an MCP client, and the MCP client would maintain one-to-one connection with one or more servers. And these are as I told, that server would have tools. So these are the kind of tools that a server can have. So for example, it can have a tool to fetch all the users from the database. It can have a tool to insert new user, create new repo and it would use the API to create the repo. And then it can pretty much have any logic that, whatever you can do with a function a tool can do that. So running some specific script, or starting the server, or creating the Docker image. This would help you understand more about it. This of workflow of how the MCP would do the work. So consider that there is a user, and the user would write a prompt, list all the connections available in the Firebase. Now, the MCP user would write the prompt in MCP host, and MCP host would give the prompt to the MCP client. Now, the MCP client would first of all ask the MCP server to get all the available tools, and then the MCP server would pass the list of all the available tools with its description and whatever argument is required by the function. So now MCP client has the list of available tools, and MCP client has the prompt of the users, and it would send this prompt and the list of available tools to the LLM. Now here, since it's an LLM, it would analyze the query of the user and the list of all the available tools, and it would suggest one or more tools to be used by the MCP client. Now the MCP client got all the suggestion of the tool based on the prompt. So now the MCP client would request the MCP server to execute the tool. Tool is a function. So now MCP server would have tool or tools to be executed. For example, based on this prompt, list all the collections. MCP server would have got the request to run this particular tool, get all the collections. So now it would execute this function. It would use maybe the Firebase SDK to get all the required data. Required data is like the list of all the collections that we have in the Firebase, and then it would send the required data to the MCP client. Now, the MCP client has the prompt of the user, the required data to fulfill the user's prompt, and so it would send the prompt along with the required data to the LLM. Now, since the LLM got the prompt of the user, it got the context, so it would be able to generate a perfect response for the user, and then the generated response is served to the user. So this way, based on the prompt of the user, we have several tools that we can use to get the context for the LLM, and as the name suggests, model context protocol. So it is kind of a protocol that sets the standard to provide context to the model. All right, I'll show you some code. I guess I hope it helps you understand more about it. So in case if anyone wants to try the hands-on code, you can scan this QR code and it would lead you to the documentation to create, it's kind of a tutorial to create your own MCP server. All right. The QR code would take you here, and then the system requirements. I'm sure that everyone will have Node and NPM. Now let's create a sample Firebase MCP server. So first of all, I want to make this clear that I do not mean to teach you how to create a specific server for the Firebase. What I want to show is that the way you can create an MCP server, the way you can list all the tools in the MCP server, and then integrate your personal MCP server with the VS Code Copilot to use all the tools that you listed in the server. So it is the same way as we create any node project, npm initY, and then we install the SDK for the model context protocol, and we would need Zord for, since we are using TypeScript, so we would want this to describe the types for the data, and then the Firebase admin to work with all the functions that Firebase has. And then here we would install the development dependencies for the TypeScript. All right, now since we have installed everything, we have an initial project setup. I would go ahead and create a source directory. There you go. And then I would create a file, index.ts in the source directory. All right, there you go. This is the file. And we need to update the package.json to the type module. And we need to add this npm script, the build script for the application. There you go. All right, and then tsconfig.json. Okay. We'll use this thing. And then we would now finally add some code in our index.ts. Let me do this. Then we go one by one. And by the way, last time I did my presentation at Microsoft, and everyone thought that since I have a lot of comments, I use a ChatGPT generated code, but just to clarify, I wrote all these comments. This one? The code?
The code, can you zoom it in?
Okay. Can everyone see that?
The one on the right side.
Oh, this one, okay. Yeah. So we would first import all the MCP related library functions, and then the function for the Firebase, and then the Zord. All right. I would quickly explain this class. So basically, I just created a class to encapsulate all the functions related to Firebase. So it has an instance of database, which is the Firebase thing, and then in the constructor, I take the absolute path where I have stored the JSON. It's the token that Firebase provides, so the path to that JSON file, and then I use this admin, that is the function from the Firebase admin, to initialize the app, and I pass the instance of the Firebase app to this private variable that we have in the class, and then I have this function fetch collection. So as the name suggests, it fetches all the collections that we have in the database, and then it returns all the name of all the collections. And then we have this add new document. So it basically takes the collection name and the document, which can be a JSON thing, and then it adds this document into the collection. And at the end, we have get document, so it takes the name of the collection and it calls this function to get all the documents that we have in the collection. I just have 3 tools. I'll just create 3 tools just to give you an example of how it works. This is just the regular code that we write. And then we initialize an instance of this class to use all this function. So this is the path where I have stored the admin credentials for Firebase. Now here, this is from where we create the MCP server. So we use this we initiate a new object of the class by passing the name of the server, the version, and the capabilities. So capabilities are the resources and the tools that I discussed that an MCP server can have. And then the resources are like the data element, the data that it has, maybe in form of documentation, text, or whatever. And then the tools. So this is how you create an instance of a server, MCP server. And then this is how you add a new tool in the MCP server. So you use this tool method from the server. So here you write the name of the tool that you want to use. Here you provide the description of the tool. So basically, the reason for adding this description is that it helps when the list of tools would be sent to the LLM. It helps LLM decide what tools to be used specific to the user prompt. So we just write a good enough description. Again, it is all about providing the context. And then here we pass the required data for the function to execute. So it is basically the arguments that the function takes. So since this is the tool that adds a new document, so we take the collection name and then the document that we need to add in the collection. So we use Zord to describe the types of the argument. And then here is the function that would be actually executed when the MCP server runs this tool. So we use this, as we created this method in the Firebase class, and we just pass the collection name and document, and then return a specific the content in this standardized format. So the format is you return an object which has a key content and the value and the value is the array of objects with the type and text. So we do not need any specific chunk of relevant data. So in this use case, what we are essentially doing is just adding the document. We are not fetching any data from the source that we have. So we would just send this acknowledgement message. And then the other two tools that we have. So one is fetch collection tool, the name of the tool, the description of the tool, and then the function. So here, if you notice that we do not send any, so we do not pass any the type of data, because this is the method that just fetches the collection and it does not require any argument. So we just pass the function that would be executed, and we use the fetch collection function from the Firebase class to get all the collection. And again, as I said, we return the data in a specific format. So an object with content key and the type would be an array of objects with the whatever the type of this is. So it's just text and the collections. And then we have the same thing, but here we send the argument because it requires the argument. Okay, and this is the main function of the file. So this we create an instance of transport. So what transport is, that it is the method that MCP server and MCP client would use to communicate in between. So we are using stdio because as suggested by the MCP, if we have MCP server and MCP client both in the same machine, we can use stdio. Otherwise, we can use the HTTP post method that we use. All right, and then we finally call the collect method from the server and pass this transportation method. And now we would execute the main function that we created along with some error handling. All right, we do not need to do this because I have already done that. But when you guys are doing it by yourself, you may need to add the absolute location of the JSON file. And then now we need to run npm run build to create the JavaScript version of this TypeScript. All right. So if you see, we have this index.js in the build directory. All right, so we have created this MCP server, and now we would use this. We would add this MCP server, connect this MCP server with the VS Code Copilot to use the function. So to connect the server with the VS Code Copilot, you can just click here in the command palette, and then have this MCP add server and the command. So the command, so the thing is, you can create MCP server with Python, with Node. So this is the place where you enter the command. So since we have built it using Node.js, I'll write Node. Oh, sorry, this was, wait. Okay, sorry, that was just the protocol that we use for the communication between server and the client. So it was stdio that we declared. And here you write the node. And then the name of the server. So I'll just use Firebase MCP server. And I will add this in this workspace. So here, if you see, we have listed the MCP server that we have, and in the argument you need to provide the path to the here. In the argument you would need to provide the path of the file of the server. So in the build, I'll copy the absolute path, pass it, and now we have already added the MCP server. MCP list servers. This is the one that we created right now. Start the server. All right, and as you can see that it has already discovered 3 tools that we have listed in the server. Finally, oh, okay. We can open the Copilot, and here I'll just hide this MCP server file and add content. So here when you use Copilot, although we have already started the server and it has discovered all the tools that we have listed, but you still need to, every time you write something, you still need to provide the context as in the tool that we created. So let's say fetch collections. Okay. And then it asks me to use this specific tool. I'll say continue. Oh, wait. All right, so it gave me this output. I don't know why it added this description, but then it gave me the output of all the collections that I have in my Firebase, and I'll show it the collections that I have. So I have 4 collections in my Firebase, and that is what it listed. So what it did was that it executed the tool that the function that we have in the server to fetch all these tools. Now let me add. Oh wait, I forgot to provide the context. Add a new document. Continue. And then it created. So if I go back and check in the time, well, this one. This is the one that we just created using the Firebase, the MCP server. All right, back to the presentation. So you can have access to the documentation that I just used to create the MCP server by scanning this QR code. And the perks. So since it standardizes the way AI model gets the context, so you would have a list of servers from all the different companies, and then you have your own MCP client or the AI agent that supports the MCP server. So you can plug and play any MCP server that you want to use with your agent, and then it reduces the time consumed to develop AI-powered applications, because now you just need to get the MCP server and use it. And then again, this one is like you can use natural language to perform various tasks. All right, this is just a question that I have. So a lot of people whom I talked to consider that MCP and RAG are different things. So I just wanted to know your opinion. Okay. All right. The thing is, what I believe is that the actual meaning of RAG is to provide context to your model that helps it generate the perfect answer for the user, and MCP gives the protocol that standardizes the way, so I think yes. Okay, thank you for attending my session. I would like to thank all the sponsors and the TorontoJS to host my talk. You can scan this to get the link to all my socials, and I'm open to opportunities, so let me know if you have any.
Do we have any questions? Oh, one in the back.
Yeah, so I can imagine the very big companies like Gmail, like Google or Stripe, they have their own MCP servers for the developers to, let's say, just clean up my mailbox, right? And the MCP server just does it. However, in an enterprise kind of settings, usually companies, they don't want to leak the data for third parties and whatnot, so their only option now is to host their own MCP servers. Obviously, for the open source models like DeepSeek or Aalam from Facebook, whatever, the amount of infrastructure, and I'm an infrastructure from background, so the insane amount of, you need GPUs, you need a lot of cache, the Redis infrastructure is also pretty massive. So how do you, I guess, convince, God forbid, I have to convince my boss, right, to bring this to production. So how do I justify the cost of running and the complexity of running my own infrastructure in an enterprise settings? And also, what is the trade-off, I guess? That's my question.
I guess I lost you, sorry. Can you?
Yeah, so what would be, how do you what would be the trade-off of self-hosting an MCP server, and what would be the benefits that it offers? What is the pros and cons of self-hosting it in an enterprise environment?
Well, the pros and cons that I know for now is that when you build your own server, you get to customize the stuff, you get to customize role-based access control. But then again, you need, as I talked earlier, you need to maintain the server as the APIs of the third-party updates. So you need to, make sure that everything is up to date. When you use the company server, it saves you from all these tasks, but, well, I never thought about it actually. But it makes things easy for you, but then I don't know how to justify the trade-offs.
Okay.
Sorry for that.
Thank you. That's the question.
Any other questions?
Following up on his question, do you think it would be the companies can host their own MCP server and charge the LLMs for their data? Would that be a viable option?
Charge LLM for what?
Charge them for the data that the company produces. For example, let's say GitHub hosts their LLM server, and they can outsource their code base, or the code that is pushed to GitHub to LLM, so that they would be more, I guess, they would get more data. Would this protocol be used to sell data to LLMs?
I don't know. I mean, it is a protocol.
Yeah, but if I can provide real-time data to the chatbots, I can monetize my data much more efficiently, right?
But then they already have the SDKs that do that. SDKs and APIs.
Yeah, makes sense.
And the MCP server would be nothing but the same thing as API or SDKs.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, looks like you all want to go to networking session. So good news, we have some pizza left. Thanks a lot, Dave, for the talk and presentation and showing the code. Thanks a lot to you all for coming in. We have a channel on YouTube where we stream all these. So if you can go on YouTube, search for TorontoJS, and subscribe to us. Let us know how the streams go. If they're, like, we've been having some issues with audio. We're trying to fix those issues. So if you listen to the video, and you can tell us in comments or over in the Slack on what kind of things you'd want to see improved, we can work on them. Second, if you want to be a speaker, let us know, because most of speakers here are from this crowd. They have attended the events in the past, they liked the whole thing, and they became a speaker. We help people become a speaker. So if you think you haven't spoken before publicly and how can you do it, believe me, you can. I did the same. I was like you all sitting in the back, and trained myself, looked up to mentors, and got to the stage. So we can help you become a speaker. If you have any topic that you think people will be interested in, talk to us, talk to me. I can help you prepare for it. It doesn't have to be right away, maybe in the next 4 months and next 6 months. But please submit your talks and tell us what you're building. That will be it from our side. We still have time left until 9 p.m., so about 20 minutes. Feel free to hang around in the kitchen, talk to the speakers, and learn anything more. Thanks a lot. If you have food or beverages around here, please throw them in the kitchen. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.